Good evening, everyone. I hope you are doing well. Can you please confirm if I'm audible to everyone or not? Am I audible to you? Please confirm it in the chat box if you can hear my voice. Fine. So I'm audible. So now let us begin with the session. Good evening, Kshitij. Okay. So let us begin with the session. So hello everyone, welcome to another insightful session of Perspective 360 degree where we do current affair based answer writing practice in a detailed and structured manner. So if you are an aspirant preparing for exams like RBI, NABARD, etc., then this initiative is definitely going to help you in order to write answers for your descriptive paper of phase 2. So let us begin with the today's session, and today we are going to talk about the agriculture system that is there in India. And as you have seen in the this thumbnail also, the in the thumbnail title also, that this is a NABARD special session. Why it is a NABARD special session? Because as we know that agriculture is a very important topic as far as the NABARD is concerned, and whatever information that I have taken for this topic, all the information I have taken from the economic survey. Fine. So the primary source of this whole discussion is going to be the economic survey so that I can provide you the most authentic information and the latest information from the side of the government. And of course, what you can do once the session is done and the PDF is made available to you on the Telegram channel, you can take the points from these slides, from this content, and you can add it to your notes in the agriculture notes. Fine. So this is going to be the agenda for today's session, and I hope it is very much clear to you. Now, if you are new to this Perspective 360 degree initiative, then let me tell you that here, firstly, we give you an expected question. And once this session is done, before that, we are going to discuss this question as a part of this session. And once this session is done, you have to write the answer of the expected question in the chat box, sorry, in the comment box. That will be evaluated by our team within 48 hours. So today is Saturday. So if you want your answer to get evaluated, then you have to write it down in the comment box before Monday 5 p.m. Fine. So before that, your answer will get evaluated by our team. I hope the agenda is clear to everyone. Now, this is the expected question from today's topic, which is discuss the current state of India's agriculture with the focus on the challenges it faces and the government interventions aimed at enhancing productivity and sustainability. Now, as you can see, the question is pretty much straightforward and topic is also not difficult. Fine. I am assuming that whoever is preparing for NABARD, he must have covered this topic because this is the, I would say, one of the primary important topics as far as the NABARD is concerned. And for the RBI also, this topic is important, but the high importance with respect to this topic or the relevance of this topic is more with, it aligns more with the NABARD. So this is the expected question for today. Now, before we begin with the discussion, this is the answer blueprint that you need to follow. So you have to divide your answer into introduction, the body, and the conclusion. The introduction has to be within 10 to 12% of the total word limit, and the same rule applies to the conclusion also. Rest of the word limit should be allocated to the body part, where you will write your body in the form of heading, and the different subheadings. Under the subheadings, you will write your relevant points that you will try to substantiate using the data, facts, and examples. Fine. I hope the picture is clear to you. Now let us move on to the first part of our answer, which is the introduction part. So let me just repeat the question for you so that we can relate it with the introduction. So discuss the current state of India's agriculture sector with the focus on challenges that it faces and the government interventions aimed at enhancing productivity and challenges. So firstly we are going to talk about challenges and then this government intervention. So let us go through the introduction part for once. So we can start our introduction like the agriculture sector plays a pivotal role in India's economy, contributing to 18.2% of the country's GDP. This is the latest data according to economic survey, and supporting the livelihoods of 42.3% of the population as of 2023 to 2024. Over the past 5 years, the agriculture has experienced an average annual growth of 4.818%, showing resilience, and steady performance. Now, this is something that we have written, the contribution of agriculture as a part of our economic growth in case of India. Now, since the question is asking about challenges and the government interventions, so we have to highlight, we have to give some kind of snapshot related to challenges also. What we can write in accordance to that, so we can talk about that. However, in 2023 to 2024, the growth rate for this agriculture sector stood at lower 1.4%. So if we compare it, then it has the, even if the growth rate has been 4.18%, but it has been lower as compared to the previous year. So it stood at lower 1.4%. And what was the reason? What like we can put upon that? So due to delayed and pre-poor monsoons caused by the El Nino effect, which has obviously impacted the food grain production. Fine. So this is something that we can write in our introduction. We can highlight the contrasting realities. Firstly, we are saying that agriculture is contributing to the growth, it is contributing to the employment, all these things. Then we are saying even if it is contributing, but there are issues because agriculture sector stood at lower 1.4% because of this XYZ reasons. Fine. So this is the light that we can put as a part of our introduction. Now let us move on to the body part 1. So what is going to be the body part 1? Since the question is asking about the challenges, so this is going to be the our first part of the body, which is basically the agriculture related challenges. So what is the first challenges? As I have already told you that all this data, all this information, all these points I have taken from the economic survey. Fine. So this is the source of this information. So the first point is regarding the low productivity with respect to our agriculture. So there are different reasons highlighted in the economic survey with respect to the low productivity. For example, the fragmented land holdings. Because of this fragmented land holdings, what happened? There is limited scope of mechanization in the farms. Fine. Because of the fragmented land holdings. Then because of this, we have inadequate farm mechanization. And the second, another reason is the behind the low productivity is the dependence on monsoons. Since we are very much dependent on monsoons for the growth of our agriculture system, and the main reason is that because our irrigation system is not very much developed. Fine. We are lacking somewhere as far as the modernization of the advanced irrigation system is concerned with respect to the farmers. And because of that, the farmers have to be dependent on the monsoon seasons. And because of this, our crops get vulnerable, because if there is any kind of changes in the monsoon season, then it directly impacts our crops also. So because of that, our agriculture sector becomes very much vulnerable. Apart from that, insufficient access to the quality inputs, for example the pesticides, for example the fertilizers, for example the different type of seeds that are used by the farmers. And all these things, what they lead to, they result in the suboptimal crop yields, which impact the crop yields. And definitely it indicates that it impacts the productivity of our agriculture sector. If we talk about the example, then for example India's average yield for paddy is significantly lower compared to the global leaders. For example, if we don't go very far, if we compare it with China only, then our this average yield is very much lower as compared to the China. Fine. So with respect to at the global level, if you compare it with the global level, then the productivity is very much low. The second point is regarding the climate variability. So if you talk about the climate variability, then because of this whole agriculture sector, it remains highly vulnerable to the weather variation. This is something that I have already explained to you in the first point also, when we were talking about the monsoon season, the delayed monsoon seasons. Since our agriculture system is very much dependent on the monsoon season, what does it lead to? It leads to the vulnerability with respect to the cropping pattern in our country. So as the economic survey says that in 2023 to 2024, for instance, the food grain production declined slightly from 329.7 million tons to 328.8 million tons. Due to what? Due to the poor monsoon season. So this has been the impact with respect to the monsoon season on our agriculture system. Then the economic survey notes that the climate season is projected to reduce the rice and the wheat yields by 20% and 19.3% by 2050. So this shows that this is some kind of projection that has been made as a part of the economic survey with respect to the yield of the rice and the wheat. So which is projected to get decreased if this trend of climate change, if this trend of the climate change variation continues in the future also, which is a big threat to our agricultural output. The next point is regarding the inadequate marketing infrastructure. Now, if you talk about that, this is one of the important factors highlighted in the economic survey. Very precisely, economic survey talks about it, that the farmers in our country, they face difficulties with respect to the marketing. And what is the reason behind it? What is the reason behind this inefficient marketing infrastructure? So the economic survey says that the average area served by the mandis, which mandis? Basically the APMC mandis. I hope you know about the APMC mandis, which is a very important component of our marketing system. So if you do not know about it, please have some background information regarding the APMC mandis, and also about the ENAM system, how the ENAM system, how it is related to APMC mandis, and it is a very informative part of this agriculture system. So if you do not know about it, so this can be your homework. You can read about APMC mandis and the ENAM system. Fine. So the thing is that according to economic survey, the average area served by mandis in India is 434.48 square kilometer, which is much higher than the recommended 80 square kilometer that by the National Commission of Farmers. Now, how is it a problem? Why it is a problem? Because due to the lack of proximity to the mandis, because mandis are very far away from the farmers. So because of this lack of proximity to mandis for the farmers, it leads to increase in the dependence on intermediaries. Fine, it leads to increase in the dependence on intermediaries for the farmers. And since the intermediary, because they are very much dependent on this intermediaries, what does it lead to? It basically leads to inefficient price discovery for the farmers. It leads to inefficient price discovery for the farmers. And apart from that, since the mandis are very much far away from the from the reach of the farmers, what it also leads to? It also leads to post harvest losses for the farmers, because the mandis are very much far away from the reach of the farmers. So it also leads to post harvest losses for the farmers, which is an important issue as highlighted in the economic survey. And this is a very very important issue as far as especially the small and the marginalized farmers are concerned. Fine. So for the large farmers, for them this problem is not very much significant, but in case of small and the marginal farmers, this is a big challenge. I hope it is clear to everyone. The next is regarding fragmented land holdings. And now we all know that when the land holdings, when they are very much fragmented, what happens? It leads to low adoption of modern practices. What type of modern practices? For example, modern practices in context of the modern irrigation system. For example, the precision farming, precision farming by the farmers, the technique of precision farming. And also it often leads to high operational cost. Fine, because they are not able to avail the benefits because of the fragmented land holdings. The land is of very small size, so it also increases the operational cost of the farmers, the minimum to the input to output ratio. So the high operational cost, it's also another factor, or I would say the impact of this fragmented landholding. And what does the economic survey says? The economic survey says that as per the 2023 economic survey data, 89.4% of the farm households, they own less than 2 hectares of land, which shows the fragmented landholdings pattern that are there prevalent in our country. Fine. The next point is regarding dependency on water intensive crops. For example, the focus on water intensive crops like rice and wheat, it has created sustainability concerns. For example, the economic survey says that rice and wheat together, they consume more than 60% of the total irrigation water used in the agriculture. And this is very much prevalent in the areas like Punjab and Haryana, because these type of regions, for one of the important impacts of using the crops like rice and wheat is that because they often rely on this rice and wheat. So because of that, what happens? There has been an important challenge of groundwater depletion. Groundwater depletion is a very important challenge because of growing of these crops such as rice and wheat. And another important reason why these farmers grow rice and wheat in these areas, because of the different type of for example, the government policies. For example, the MSP that is provided in case of rice and wheat, it is very much high. So what farmers do? Farmers prefer to grow these type of crops in these areas of Punjab and Haryana. But naturally these crops like rice and wheat, they are not suitable for these regions, and because of this, what does it lead to? It lead to the depletion of the groundwater in these areas. So which is another important problem, the dependence on the water intensive crop, as highlighted in the economic survey. So I hope all these challenges are pretty much clear to you. Now let us move on to the government intervention with respect to the enhancement of productivity and sustainability in the agriculture sector. So different schemes have been mentioned in the economic survey. For example, it talks about the MSP. So it says that to ensure the farmers, to ensure that farmer receives a fair price with respect to different major crops. So because of that, the government had launched MSP. So MSP has played very important role as far as the profitability of the farmers is concerned. For example, in 2023 to 24, the MSP for lentils was 89% over the cost of production. Fine. And for the pulses like tur, it was 58%. So this shows the importance or the role that has been played by the MSP in the productivity of the profitability and the productivity in the agriculture system. The next is regarding the income support. So you all would be knowing about this PM Kisan scheme. So as a part of the PM Kisan scheme, the farmers are availed with rupees 6,000 annually. So and if you talk about the impact of this PM Kisan scheme as highlighted in the economic survey, so more than 3.24 lakh crore has been distributed to over 11 crore farmers. So this has been the impact of this PM Kisan scheme, that has been a very important scheme as far as the income support to the farmers is concerned. The third scheme that has been mentioned in the economic survey is the fertilizer subsidy reforms. So for example, to address the nutrient imbalances caused by the overuse of urea, the government launched initiatives like PM Pranam. And what is this aim of this PM Pranam? It basically reduces the use of the chemical fertilizers, and it promotes and the government has also brought different type of schemes related to organic farming. For example, the Parampagat Krishi Vikas Yojana, PKVY. So this is an important scheme with respect to the organic farming, which reduces the reliance on these chemical fertilizers. The next is the farm mechanization. So for that, the government has launched this sub-mission on agriculture mechanization, SMAM, and for this, the government has been providing funds to custom hiring centers and farm machinery banks. Now, if you do not remember this data is not very important. You cannot skip. You can skip this data also. But this information you have to remember what the government has been doing as a part of it. So it is setting up these custom hiring centers and the farm machinery banks. The next point is regarding the Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. So the economic service says that Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, it is the largest crop insurance scheme in the world. So this is a very important factual information that you can remember and you can write it as a part of your answer. And in 2023 to 2024, this scheme has covered 610 lakh hectares of crops that has helped the farmers in safeguarding against the natural calamities. So this is again, these are the different type of points under the government intervention, the role government has played in order to enhance the productivity and sustainability as the part of this agriculture ecosystem. The last part is the conclusion part. So what we can write as a part of the conclusion: India's agriculture sector remains a critical contributor to the nation's economic growth, providing employment and food security. So this has been the primary role of the agriculture sector. It has played very important role regarding the employment, because more than 42% of the farmers, they are employed in the more than 45% of the population, it is employed in the agriculture sector only. So it has played very important role in contributing to the employment and also the food security for the million of people, for our population. However, this sector is confronted with numerous challenges such as low productivity, fragmented land holdings, and inadequate infrastructure. So moving forward, what we can do, achieving the goal for doubling farmers' income. So for the doubling of farmers' income, which is the major ambition of the government, what the government should do, government should brought the reforms like improving the market linkages, expanding irrigation coverage, and increasing the investment in research and development area. That will play very important role for ensuring the long-term sustainability and growth of this sector. So this is that you can write as a part of the conclusion. I hope it is clear to everyone. Now this is the question, the answer of which you have to write in the comment box. That will be evaluated by your team within 48 hours. So do write the answers, and this portion is very much important for the NABARD, and all the information that I have taken, it is taken from the economic survey only. So try to write the answers since the exam is around the corner. So what I would suggest you is that please respect the word limit and the time limit at this point of time. So usually I do not say that, because usually I tell students to focus on the structuring part. But since the exam is coming, so what you should do, your first priority at this point of time is to deal with this time limit and the word limit. So try to write your answer. So this answer is of 400 words. So what I would like to suggest you is that try to write your answer within 18 minutes. Fine. 18 minutes should be the threshold, the maximum time that you can afford in order to write the answer. So do not take more than 18 minutes. And if the question is for 600 words, then do not take more than 23 minutes. Fine. So I mean, you can optimize it based on your own way, whatever strategy you have. But this is the suggestion from my side. So for this question, you should take 18 minutes. If you're somebody who is going to write phase 2 this time on 20th of October for NABARD, so please make sure that you are able to write this answer within 18 minutes and try to practice it, and eventually you will improve. Fine. So I hope it is clear to everyone. So this is the EduTap blog that you can follow, that consists of different alerts, insights, tips, different type of informative articles regarding different exams. So you can go to our website, you can visit these blogs. Fine. So they will be very helpful for you. So I hope the session was helpful for you. So thank you so much and all the best for your exam. So now we will meet on Tuesday. So let me see the chat box if there is any doubt or confusion. So nothing is there. So now I am ending the session. I hope the session was helpful for you.